Running down the checklist. After losing our connection with Dale Didway, we have our studio back up. We have our Indianapolis Speedway in the background. Monitors 1 and 2 are standing by. Cameras are on, aimed, focused, and ready. Live stream is healthy, in sync, locked on. We're ready to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Well, good evening. Welcome to Renew US. It's Dale Didway time. Godspeed to all of you. And if you are not familiar with Dale Didway, well, you should be, because if you're on Twitter or Facebook or reading blogs and you're not doing Dale Didway, you're not doing it correctly. Okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to enlist our magic genie, who will bring a special place to put Dale. And we'll do that right there, like that. And Dale Didway, you see how to spell it right over there. It's not phonetically anything like Dale Didway, but it's right there. You can go to daledidway.com. Now, Dale blogs every Tuesday, and we'll be talking about his blog during the show this evening. But he also writes in many other places. You can find him on Facebook and on Twitter. And you can find him, by golly, right here, right now. Dale, come on in, have a seat, drink some coffee, make yourself comfortable. And Godspeed to you, sir.
Godspeed.
Your blog. You have so many influential friends. You mentioned, again, Zach Veach. I guess you got a chance to touch base with him again. But you also mentioned Kingdom Racing, something like that.
Yeah. George Delcato and his wife, Mary Carmen, he owns Kingdom Racing, and he's the CEO. And we're actually good friends. We met 2 years ago. He is he always has a driver in the race, and he'll have Sage Curran in running for him this year. He's the only pastor-led racing team in the Indy 500 this year again. So I'm looking forward to catching up with George. He has a book out, ironically called Godspeed. And it's kind of neat. It came out last year, and we were actually able to meet Allinger Jr., who was involved in that book. And I got to know Allinger Jr., who's a big name in racing. We formed a little connection, and he's agreed to help. I'm going to eventually get to a book about racing, or about racers, and he gave me the commitment that he will be of any help he can. So with the name Allinger Jr. on a book, that automatically spells success in the racing world. So we're looking forward to that. Now,
in your blog, you say he goes around and it's almost like he's laying hands on each of the cars.
Yeah, I think I did that with George last year, and
really?
I have to be on race day. I have to be at the 500 at the Speedway.
You have to be. Gosh, I feel so sorry for you.
At 4 o'clock in the morning, it's tough. So we have to be in there at 4 a.m. And so, and that place is hopping at 4 a.m. I mean, they're putting on a show, so the place is a buzz. But George, he'll be there, and about 6:30ish or 7, he'll walk up and down the Speedway, and some cars will be out there, some won't. But in fact, I walked up and down with him last year. He went to each pit, or where each car will be. And he just says a quick prayer right there for each racer, mentions them by name, whether he knows them or not, and their crew, and goes to the next, right up the, 10 feet away to the next pit stop, or to the next pit. And if one of the cars is there, he'll put his hands on it and pray for the safety of that driver and for everybody involved. And it's kind of a touching thing, because he has a genuine heart. And so it was, fun, not fun. It was an honor to walk up and down with him last year and do that.
The race is actually the culmination of a long series of events leading up to the race. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned in your blog some of the pageantry and all that. What are some of the things leading up to the race that go on that most people wouldn't know about that weren't there?
Oh, it all, people start filtering in early in the morning hours, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. And the race isn't until noon, right? So they got a long time. I'm there at 4 o'clock, so I have to kill 8 hours. But on Memorial Day weekend, it's a very patriotic display, and they're very proud to be Americans. And so there are hundreds and hundreds of veterans in uniform that they take up and down the track, and the fans, give their applause and recognition to them and honor them. And there's, every branch of the service is there in like almost a full parade, and they're going up and down the track and honoring the veterans and everybody served. And it's an extremely patriotic, extremely moving pageantry leading up to the race, and that's what it's all about. And then they always have that spectacular flyover right before the call to start your engines, and it's just patriotic. And if it's patriotic, it's good.
It's yeah. I feel it. I've been there for the time trials, and that's like weeks before the race. Yeah. But the whole town is just lit up with the, it's sort of like Mardi Gras. It's not a 1-day event. Okay, it goes and goes, and the whole town gets involved.
I was there two weeks ago, and there's RVs everywhere. They're already tailgating, and it's a month-long party. And when we pull in there Saturday, there will be, there's 500,000 people at this thing. So the infield is full. The parking, it's hand-to-hand combat. Fortunately, I have a parking pass that gets me in a really nice place. But
going in at 4 a.m. helps too.
But you'll be surprised how crowded it is at 4 o'clock in the morning. But no, it's fans, just people working. But there's a lot of generators, going on. And last year we walked in at 4 o'clock in the morning. There was some folks up already cooking sausage and bacon, and we were able to get a piece there walking by the Sky's camper. So it's just a lot of fun. Everybody is patriotic. There's no bending knees. There's no taking a knee. Yeah. There's no, not singing the national anthem. I mean, if you love America and you're patriotic, you will love the Indianapolis 500.
That's good to hear. It really is. Your blog, we're going to talk about Godspeed, because you do hear that word from time to time, but very few people know what it means. They just use it, and it's obviously some sort of favorable pleasantry. But in your blog, you actually did some scripture searches trying to find the phrase used in scripture, but then your blog goes on to say your take on Godspeed, and I think it was like 3 bullet points.
Yeah, I mean, Godspeed does mean rejoice, and you you go in peace and things like that. So it's a good thing, but in scriptures, it's not. It doesn't tell of a good story. So,
no.
But it doesn't have the same effect as you hear, like I mentioned Neil Armstrong when he said Godspeed. It doesn't sound as cool or as chilling or haunting as it does if you said, "Hey, rejoice."
I've always
John
connected.
Glenn.
Yeah, I've always connected the use of that word with maritime or navigational interests. The ships. Godspeed, and then of course, aircraft is basically just a ship that goes on the air instead of the water. So they share a common genesis there. But I actually did. I went to that paragon of analytical rigor, Google.com, and found out the origins of the phrase Godspeed. Okay, it goes back to, as you might imagine, European, English, early English days, and they would say, "May God speed your journey." Now, speed is spelled S-P-E-D-E, and it translates in today's English to prosper. May God prosper you on your journey. So there's an implicit thing that you're about to do something. You're about to embark on either literally a physical journey with a ship, maybe, or perhaps a life journey. You're starting a new career in a new town. So to wish someone Godspeed is to wish them to prosper. Live long and prosper.
Right.
So that's the origin, according to Google, and you can't go wrong there, right? I mean,
no, you can't go wrong there at Google. But and I think if you notice one of the pictures on my blog, and I always like to put pictures in the blog, and of course I have a rough day when I'm with all those gals up in the media box who are waiting on this handed foot. So and I had to throw that in there. That's a rough part of the day.
You're suffering, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I did some research for Godspeed because I'd heard it a lot, and it's kind of chilling if you're getting in a car and somebody says Godspeed.
Hmm.
Yeah, it can be kind of daunting. Or be kind of, what's that mean? It's kind of and I pointed out it's kind of eerie.
Hmm.
It's like that's like hearing taps played um, right before the race starts.
Yeah,
A lot
well,
of folks don't realize that taps is played, and that's not a good thing to go when you get ready to go around a track 230 miles an hour.
every light casts a shadow. So if someone's wishing you to prosper on a journey, that means there's the possibility that you may not prosper and that there may be peril ahead. So,
Right.
yes, in that sense, it is a bit chilling, in
Mm-hmm.
fact. So, I, I didn't talk to you about this while we were in the green room, but I found out something this week that I didn't know. I was on Facebook and I'm just kind of cruising around, and thank you for all the support you give to the programs here. So I was on your timeline reading somewhere, and then I find this solo video called Dell's Discoveries.
Oh yeah.
Tell us what Dell's Discoveries. What's up with
Those
that?
Discoveries is a venture that a friend of mine came to me. His name is Dave Lucas. He lives about 45 minutes away. He's a kind of a communications guru, and Dave came to me recently, and he said he wanted to do these weekly segments, that last 2 or 3 minutes, and take them from a chapter of one of my,
Mm-hmm.
devotionals each week.
Right.
So,
Mm-hmm.
been trying to do that, and getting a lot of good response out of them. So I try to find a Saturday morning where I can whip off 3 or 4 of those and send to him, and it's just going over one of my chapters and just talking about it,
Yeah.
and then
You've
pitching my
you've
book a little
done
bit.
you've done all the homework. You've got your blog. It's just sort of a video commentary on
Yeah.
your blog. And one of the things I like about Dell's blog, folks, is it's easy to read. Okay, apart from the WordPress injected, follow my blog here and
I know.
email
I
me
have
here.
to.
Follow
Yeah.
me on. They throw those in just randomly
Hmm.
somewhere. So
Hmm.
you want to make sure you're to the end.
Yeah.
But the the thing is, you make it simple to understand, but it's also short. And one of the things I want to give you an opportunity to do, Dell, is obviously you had to edit that down. What's not in the blog this week that maybe you would have liked to put in there, but you didn't in the interest of brevity?
Well, my wife does a lot of the editing, so you got to thank her for all that, because if it wasn't for that and her going over, there'd be all kinds of misspellings and things like that. So, and it's short because I don't know too many words, so I just try to keep it brief. But I was instructed by some folks who know more than I do about keeping a blog 600-700 words, which 2 minutes, 3 minute read, because you're going to lose them. There's one of our writer friends who her first blog was like 2,200 words. I just
Mm-hmm.
said, "There's no way. Oh, I'm gonna read this." But what's not in the blog is just some more things that I experienced the last couple of years at the 500, and some things that might not have been of interest to some folks. But um, really, I try to make my points quick and short. So, um, what's not in the blog was some of the food that you run into there at the 500. Some of the bizarre, not too many bizarre fans, but you see some strange ones out there looking for some weird things. But all in all, the folks and the fans at the 500 it's a good crowd. I've been to some other events where the crowd isn't, as polite, you might say, but at the 500, and this doesn't mean to stereotype, but auto racing is not a cheap sport. And so some of the followers, have resources. I mean, it's for everybody. But if you grow up in racing, you have to have resources to get there, unfortunately. And just like golf, I mean, golf's kind of, you got to have a little bit of money to get into it and do well in it. There are some exceptions. But so the fans who patron the race are the same caliber. A lot of them have um, good jobs, and they're well educated folks. So it's a good crowd. You have families there who you're not going to see a bunch of fighting and a bunch of riffraff going on. So it's a well educated crowd who appreciate a good race and appreciate um, recognizing this country, and the race does that. And so That's probably what I could have gone into more detail, is the pageantry leading up to the actual race, because it is fun. I mean, they have that clock worked out. I mean, if they say that flyover is at 11:54, it's
Mm-hmm.
11:54,
Mm-hmm.
and everything starting at like 9 o'clock is down to the minute, and we get a schedule of everything that's going on, when it's going to happen. By golly, that's when it happens, and that's an amazing thing in itself, to pull that show off hours before the race and do it like clockwork.
Well, Dell, I can tell you, a high school football game is on a smaller scale. People don't realize how many details go into. It is a production. Now, when you notice things is when things go wrong. Okay, but when it's time for the national anthem, there's a flag on that pole. Well, let me tell you something. Somebody put that flag there. It's not just there. One of the things that I enjoyed doing the most prior to a football game is when the visiting team arrived at our stadium. I would go meet them in their bus and show them how, where they could park, and show them their accommodations. It's very, obviously we're opponents, and it gets pretty vicious out there on the field. But there's just a deep sense of respect between teams, or between the coaches. And we want them to feel welcome. Of course, I was at a Christian school. Maybe that helped, but I don't think it's that different in public schools. And it was just a good thing. We would exchange films with them the following week on people. There's a whole back end of this thing that people don't see. You see the end product. That's the tip of the iceberg. There is so much support that goes. That is underneath that iceberg that keeps it afloat, and of course, we're working with volunteers, so I guess there's some volunteers at Indy, but I suspect a lot of it's professional.
Yeah, there are, but there's a lot of the guys checking us and at the gate. They get paid, but not a lot, and they're more older folks they're retired, and they just like to be at the racetrack. And
How long have you been going to the 500?
Well, I've been going faithfully since Zach's been in the race. The last 3 years, I've gone in the past, but not as frequent.
Okay.
But I think I'll be going every year now, because I anticipate Zach to be in it every year. I mean, he qualified again this Sunday, and we got a little note from him saying that he's starting 28th position, which is up from what he was at last year. He started the race 2 years ago, 33rd out of 33, and last year I think he was 29th. This year he's 28th. So he's moving up a little bit, slowly, but we look forward to him.
He did qualify.
Yeah, he's in the field again, so we're excited about that. We'll be going down Saturday, and following him around a little bit. Now we're not going to we don't talk to the racers a whole lot on Sunday, because on race day, because they're getting focused. They have a lot going on. They know they could die, so they're not real talkative with the media, so they're just getting focused. But we're going to be a lot in his garage, because we have a photographer who's going to we're going to follow him out on the track, and that's exciting in itself, because on race day on the track, when they're lining up on the track with the cars, there's hundreds of people getting ready. Their families on there on the track when their driver gets in the car, and there's the big introduction. So if anybody's listening out here can try to I think ABC carries it, or ESPN. Try to watch the start of that race. It's thrilling. It's exciting. There's nothing like it.
How many celebrities who goes that people we'd know?
I've seen so many of them, of all different.
Well, Dell Didway.
No. I mean, last year Vice President Pence was there. Okay. So you're gonna see the Vice President, maybe, because he's an Indiana guy. So we look forward to him. Yeah. We look for him to be there again. I bumped into a few. Of course, last year when Danica Patrick was there, Aaron Rodgers was there. Didn't get a chance to speak with him a whole lot. Because these guys are guarded, they go up to little suites, and you don't really have a lot of time with them. But anybody, a lot of Bon Jovi's there a lot. I think David Letterman, obviously, he's from Indiana. I guess he's still a celebrity, pseudo one. And
he looks like Santa Claus.
I know, but he always sits out on turn 2 and with the fans, so they all love him. I know in the past, Bill Murray's been there. So yeah, anybody who I think loves sports and loves America, who's patriotic, will be there. So
okay,
it's always a good time.
What's the weather forecast for race day?
It's supposed to be cool, not as hot. Last year was blistering. It's supposed to be cloudy, which is good. Keep the sun off of us, and I'll be in the air conditioned media center, but having brisket, but it'll be we'll be comfortable.
Okay. All right. Well, Dell, you're going to have a busy week as always, and I did get to listen to your radio program from last week, and well done. And your host was very good as well.
Oh, Eric, Eric was a great host on that. He did a great job. He's from Pennsylvania, and we're already touching base for our August 5th release. So we're going to get in contact with him on that.
August 5th. Big day. Folks, tell the people what's happening August 5th.
August 5th, the release of First Down Devotions. It's already out for pre-sale, but it'll be the official release of First Down Devotions. We're excited about that. I think you're involved a little bit on that one. You wrote a nice endorsement for it, so we appreciate that. May's coming to an end, which is great because I'm starting to slow down a little bit. I leave tomorrow for North Carolina, about a 6-hour drive, and I'll be back Thursday for the most important thing is our granddaughter's T-ball game. Thursday evening, so we'll be back for that. And then we head out to Indianapolis.
Is that Sophie?
Sophie has the T-ball game Thursday at 6:30. So, and then we leave for Indianapolis, about a 4-hour drive, and then get back. I don't know when we'll get back. Depends on it. I hope Zach finishes well. If he finishes well, I'll stay for it, which means I'll get home really, really late because it's a 4-hour drive, but after the race, you're looking at 3 hours before you can even get out of there. So I think 2 years ago he didn't finish. He finished with his car quit on him with 40 laps to go, and I left and I beat the crowd. So I hope that doesn't happen again. But if Zach's in the hunt, I'm gonna stick around and obviously get with him afterwards, and we get home and immediately turn around and go to New York City for a week for a nice book show. And then I'm going to take a few days off.
Normally, I've learned not to talk too much about next week, but I think this week's an exception. Next week, we may have a live event. We may have a pre-recorded event because you will be doing...
We're going to be in our agent and some of our writing friends. We're involved with a group called Serious Writer. And they are bringing some folks in on Tuesday night. We're taking a bunch of folks to dinner, and we will be giving away like Book of the Year, Writer of the Year awards to some folks who entered some contest. And so we're going to be flying some folks into New York and having a dinner with them and like a little awards dinner. So, hopefully the plan will be, and maybe we can have my agent on here with me next week. We might be doing it from Morton Steakhouse in Manhattan, but we'll see if we can arrange that.
Yeah, I know. Since it's just us, and you may not know this, Dale, but I am in contact with Diamond and Silk.
Oh, no kidding!
Yeah, for a very special show, the 31st of this month, and I sent well, Dale, you do know, when you send this email. There's so many scenarios. One is you just never hear back from them. Another one is that you do hear back and they say, sure, we'll do that. Here's our fee, or yes, we'll do that, or no, we're just not going. None of those occurred. Within 24 hours, I actually got a response asking questions to clarify what the nature of it was and is. So the answer, that's not a no. And that, so wouldn't it be awesome? But whether or not Diamond and Silk appears on the 31st, we will be bringing together a panel of black leadership, probably most of it from the state of Alabama. And we are going to be talking about how the conservative, the GOP, is actually the best hope for the black voter. But anyway, we don't talk politics on Tuesday night. But anyway,
I can talk politics on anything.
Yeah, and you do on Thursday. Now wait. Let me touch briefly. I did not get a chance to read your Thursday article. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, which one was that?
Tito, the Hall of Fame thing.
Oh yeah, that was that.
I didn't read it, and I know more about it than you do. Okay.
Yeah, I remember which one was. But No, it goes back to our good friend Al Oliver, who's here in Portsmouth, who could be up for the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he didn't get enough votes to get back on the ballot back in '91, so he can never get in the Hall of Fame the traditional way.
Mm-hmm.
So every so often, this committee called the Modern Baseball Era Committee meets once in a while to vote and to recognize players who may have been left off. Like last year, Alan Trammell, great player for the Detroit Tigers, was inducted in the Hall of Fame via this committee. And so Al has been talked about his name coming up for this committee again. And we talked to Jim Palmer about it. We talked to Terry Francona the other night, the manager of the Cleveland Indians, who played with Al Oliver. And his recollection was like Al was one of the best hitters he'd ever seen in his life. So it was just a good article of support for Al. In fact, Al saw it today, and took some more video talking to Terry about it. It was astonishing because these guys, like when I talked to Jim Palmer, he hadn't played. He's 70-some years old, and he knew stats right off the bat, just like we're talking. And the same way with Terry Francona, I just asked him about Al. He said 1982, man, he batted to 331. I'm like, how do these guys remember this stuff back so long ago? But I looked it up, and by golly, he was right. And so he was very supportive of Al's chances. We're trying to gather some more, some support, because that does come into play. And so, we're going to try to possibly go out to San Diego when the winter baseball meetings take place and see if we can get in on that vote.
You live an exciting life, Dale. You're the world's most interesting man. And anyway, all right, well, let's see what happens next week. It could be something brand new. It could be a recorded. It'll be interesting no matter what. And it's funny, Dale, we don't actually set a time limit on how long we spend here, but it always winds up about half an hour. Yeah.
I can guarantee you if we're on, I'll have a friend with me who's a very successful children's author, and if I tell her she could be on something like this, she'll go on. So she loves the camera. So
I love the challenge. We've never had more than one guest.
We can have. I'll take all my gear with me, and my iPad with me to dinner.
Yeah.
And even if it's for 10 minutes, we'll see what we can do. We can find maybe going to the gentleman's room or something and do it.
Well, at least they have gender identity there.
So,
all right. Well, Dale, listen. Thanks for making time for us, and thank you for your support. Of all that we do here, it's a team effort. And Dale, it's great to have you on the team, and you're a real team player and an asset to the team and to the cause that we all stand for. And can't wait to hear what's going to happen next week. We'll see you then.
We'll be in touch.
All righty. Folks, Del Didway on Tuesday nights. You'll never be disappointed coming here for that. And he is live Tuesday night, but of course he's on YouTube, and we're getting more and more people sharing some of the videos out there. We're making a little progress, and I'm just glad to report that to you. And glad to see everybody in the chat room. I know that we also have kind of a fan out there. And I think, let me see if I can pull the name up, because she's always retweeting Jane. And Jane, her bio is in another language, and so I never really paid that much attention to it. But I'm beginning. She made a reply in English tonight, so it's great to have Jane, you out there. Appreciate your support of everything that we do here, and especially of Del Didway right here on PJNet Live.